Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Rangers Rabble. Unfortunately, a disappointing defeat for Rangers tonight. Obviously, I'm sure everybody probably doesn't want to break the whole game down into 1,000 pieces, so we'll just try and kind of do it half by half. First half, Ross, obviously going at half time, 1-0 up there, down to 10 men. We probably really couldn't have asked for much more at that point.
We're pressing them. We pressed high. We got in their faces. We never gave them time. And I don't know. Did they go down to 10 men and we go in at half time and try and change the thought process to say, right, let's play in front of them and wait for our breaks? I don't know what happened. But I know for a fact that in the first half, the wee slight return ball through for their first goal, we'd have been on top of the boy in the middle of the park. How's he got the time and space to be able to play a wee reverse pass through? Balogun's got himself tied up in knots, and the boys did a good finish. I felt as if we just came out like a totally different. We came out like the team that's played the last two games in the second half.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can dispute that. We even just came back to the first half quickly. We did a lot in that first half, which is what I thought we would do, which was to press them high, which was to get in their faces, which was to stop them playing out. And I thought we did that reasonably well for that first 35 minutes. JD, what did you think?
I agree. It's funny when we seen Balogun starting, we all knew we were going to go for them and do the press on them. It's a bit a tough one on Big Hollander because I'd probably say he's been my best defender this season anyway. But I thought the first half was Morelos was unplayable, and I thought Aribo was fantastic. You're going at half time and 1-0 up, they're down to 10 men, coasting. You're coasting it, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've come out thinking, right, they're down to 10 men, let's just go and get the second and third. And we've been outfoxed, basically, haven't we? We've been outsmarted.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can argue that. It felt like in the first half we'd set up in a manner that stopped them playing, and then it helped us get a bit more possession higher up the pitch. And also, we'll just come to the goal quickly. Obviously, Barisic feeds the ball into Kent. Probably one of the few times in the game that obviously Kent kind of found that kind of space, but it was a great ball in for Morelos, Ross.
An excellent cross, mate. Pinpoint right in the danger area, and we knew that they were susceptible. We knew that they were susceptible to cross balls and that we were going to get joy. Again, Barisic, they alluded to at half time with the run to take the defender away and free up the space. I don't think there's been enough of that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's enough people busting their ass to make space for others, and it seems to be dead lethargic and dead snail's pace. But it was a great ball into a great position, and on the European nights, Morelos is your man for a goal. Do you know what I mean?
No, and the thing is, like at that point, when you get that early goal, that was basically what we were all looking for. You wanted to get that first goal because of the away goal rule is no longer there. The first thing you're thinking is, we need to get the first goal, then it's back on level terms. And it's basically like a kind of 50-50 game at that point, because you're thinking whoever gets that next goal is going to then obviously go forward to the game, potentially dominate the game. Okay, we'll move into the second half. You come out at the start of that second half. Personally, I was expecting them maybe to change their shape a little bit, but they didn't. And I don't know if that's maybe caught us off guard, because they basically went from a 5-3-2 to a 5-2-2. So they never actually changed anything. And we were actually 3-on-2 against their midfield too, but it certainly didn't feel that way, JD.
They kind of bypassed us, didn't they? I think they were just, they've almost went like, you know what, we'll go for back to front and get the big Kovac boy on the ball as best as we can. And do you know what, man? I had a wee feeling at the start, during the first half, although we were playing well, I just thought Tav and Goldson I felt dodgy every time. I just didn't feel right. And at the second half, I know, but I thought Balogun actually started the game well, but he is probably caught at him in the first goal. But I don't know what you think about McGregor. Was slow. I thought he was slow to get down. Is that match sharpness? It's pre-season to play here, because it's been so sporadic. People have played, people haven't played. Folk who probably weren't on international duty are probably our worst performers right now. Guys who were on international duty, I think, are being my best performer. You've got Hollander. Morelos is just back in. He's probably our best player in the last two games. We've been beat.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The pre-season just didn't feel, although probably the Real Madrid first and second half is masking maybe a few issues. I don't know. And even the Livingston game, we won 3-0. I didn't want to say it in the pod that I was on, but I thought we weren't that good in that game either. So that's almost set the tone.
Yeah, I think sometimes maybe the result like kind of flatters in terms of the performance. I mean, I think even just going back quickly to a couple of those things, yeah, like it wasn't great against Livingston. Like their 2 goals at the end maybe made the scoreline look a little bit better than what it was. But it just kind of feels like we've maybe not learned our lesson for the first leg. I mean, the guy Kolak is clearly a very good, he's a powerful striker. He gets his body into good positions. We'll just go over the 2 goals quickly. I mean, that first goal, did it feel like we shouldn't even be allowing that ball to be fed into the box when you're playing against 10 men? And then is Balogun turned too easy, Ross?
For me, that's the issue, mate. The first half, when it's 11v11, we press the life at them and they never go to time. The boy's 25 yards out. He's looked up and then he can play a wee reverse. See, in the first half, we did something right up his arse. So why? Because we've got an extra man and we're no working as hard.
Yeah.
Was that an instruction at half time? And then, as you say, Balogun's drifting inward because he thinks the boy's going to shoot. And when he plays the wee reverse back, Balogun turns the long way round like a big Arctic truck.
Yeah.
And the boys put it in, the boys leathered it in the bottom corner. It's a great finish. Very good striker. But again, for me, the telling moment is when the boy gets in the middle of the park and we've not got somebody right up his hoop trying to get the block in or at least put him off.
Yeah, like it just felt like it was too easy. You know, like it felt like there was no pressure on the ball. I mean, for instance, in that position, right, if we've got the extra man, there should always be an extra man that's actually helping us. But it felt like in that second half at times they actually the extra man because like their movement was better. And generally their play at times was actually smarter than us, which I think is the most disappointing thing for anybody that was watching that game. We'll go on to the second one. I mean, yet again, like that ball's fed into Kolak. And we were saying prior to the pod starting, the one thing you can't do is allow that guy to then turn into the middle of the penalty box. And we've allowed him to do that, JD.
It's a dagger to the heart, man. Did it come for a throw-in? Was it a throw-in? I'm not sure. I think it came for
I think it might have been, mate, to be honest.
A throw-in into nothing. And Balogun's turned again and again. They're turning the hit. And you know what it's like for a keeper? He's going that way. He's struggling to catch. But I don't know, man. I'm not blaming McGregor, but I'm just thinking a fully fit 100% McGregor who's playing games for a goalkeeper. Just play every game. And I know John McLaughlin's done well for us, but we're chopping and changing that position as well. He probably would have made a difference, but we never recovered for that. We didn't even look like recovering after that, to be honest. The game was dead, and I think some were saying it killed the crowd a wee bit as well. And,
massively.
It was just an absolute dagger to the heart. We've built this up all day, and we've all been sitting at our work waiting hours and hours and hours for this game to start. And the first half got us to the place where we wanted to be. Yeah. And it should have been a matter of continuing that press in that second half, and we didn't. And that's what Ross is saying. Has that been an instruction? To say, do you know what, guys? Let them have their ball and they can come at us and we'll pick them up in the counter. No, just press them. We could have pressed the life out of them.
Yeah.
But
and I think the worst thing in terms of the second half is we never really created much after that. You know, like it's not like we upped the intensity that much with a couple of wee half chances. Like I think it was Golson's header at the back post, maybe Sakala's deflected shot. There wasn't really a huge amount of chances after that. It did, as you say, feel like that second goal in particular just killed the tie. For all there's no away goals and it doesn't really change like how we need to play. It just felt like that was like the dagger, that second goal, and that was what really obviously killed us in the end. We'll just kind of quickly run over. It looks like now we're going to be playing against Kira Almaty or Alashkert. So it's a trip to Kazakhstan or a trip to Armenia. And obviously it's back to Thursday night football. Is that just like the worst feeling in the world? I mean, obviously no offence to the Europa League, but clearly that wasn't the competition we were looking to be playing in this year, Ross.
No, it's disappointing, mate. I was just say it's long trips as well for Thursday, 2 games Thursday night, which allows the impotence for other teams in the league to be able to go and put points on the board, and we're doing long haul flights and trying to get back, and it's not the ideal scenario, as we were saying earlier on as well. That the next round should have had a good chance as well. We should be getting into the groups, man, and we've just no turned up again. 2 legs, 3 games in a week, and we've turned up for 30 minutes. Yeah, that's not good enough.
Listen, going to Armenia and Kazakhstan the way we are playing right now, that is not a fucking gimme. We could be in trouble here as well.
I know. No, and I think that's the scary thing. I think I think maybe for some people, maybe it's been like an overconfidence thing. When like we've drawn Malmo, a lot of people just thought that was fine, we were going to go through. And I think the one thing you realise, I mean, I've been watching Rangers now for like 35 years, so I've seen most things. I've seen us get knocked out with Lithuanians, with Swedish teams, with better quality opposition than we've played tonight. But it just feels like at the moment we're just on a wee spiral at the moment and things just aren't working. And it can sometimes just be one game that can spark you into life. I mean, you just don't know. But it just feels like at the moment, as you say, I mean, I don't know how long it is to Kazakhstan and back. I would imagine it's a fairly long flight there and a fairly long flight back. And if you're doing that on a Thursday night and then you're not back until very early on in the Friday morning and then you're playing again 2 days later, and then, I don't know, like if that's an away trip to Ross County, for instance, you're probably having to leave like Glasgow on the Saturday, so you're basically home for 24 hours and you're away again. And this is now the issue. And the daft thing is that there's already a lot of games on Sundays because every other team that's in Europe is already playing on a Thursday night. So it might mean that our games have to get shifted, because if we're playing the same night as Celtic, for instance, if we get drawn out at the same time, then all of those games are going to have to be shifted. So it might mean you maybe need to play on another night, and then that screws up all the schedules and everything else. So like tonight is just like a massive blow in so many levels.
Another question about tonight. Why are we launching balls into the box against a team who are really weak in the air, who concede a lot of goals to set pieces and crosses, and we've got the 6'3" striker on the bench? Well, we're bringing on.
I think that's a very valid point, mate, to be honest. I think when you look at how we were trying to play in that last 15, 20 minutes, we didn't really have anybody in the box that was going to attack those kind of balls. And when you've got Cedric sitting in the bench, it did kind of feel like he should be the one that should be coming on in that instance, especially if you are chasing the game, because at that point, even if you lose a third goal, it doesn't really matter at that point, because you're already 2-1 down anyway. So, I mean, I'm sure, I suppose if you look at tomorrow morning's papers, there's going to be a lot of question marks around the future of certain players. There's going to be question marks about maybe the substitutes in that game. But that's what happens after you lose a European tie. I mean, like we see it every other season, whether it's Celtic, it's Hibs, it's Aberdeen, it's ourselves. It's the reality of, playing football at this level. And like tonight, we get punished thoroughly by what was a very well set up Malmo team. I mean, I would go as far as to say I think we've played better teams in the Europa League than Malmo, but Malmo were set up perfectly, and they stopped us doing a lot of good things, especially in the home leg. But in that second half, we just got outsmarted by a manager who hasn't really been doing the job that much longer than Steven Gerrard. So, again, he's going to come under a bit of criticism for that, but I'm sure he probably knows that after his third defeat in the trot. Right, just to kind of round up, last couple of minutes, is there anything that you can take away from tonight's game in terms of, like, Morelos is another, kind of 90 minutes under his belt, it'll get him fresh, or is it a matter of Friday night now, we just kind of rotate it again, or do you just put the same players back in the team again?
I would get my first choice 11 on the park and get them playing together. You're going to go and he's going to play Dunfermline, and you're going to have probably, wouldn't surprise me if they gave Robbie McCrory a game to get him fresh. You're going to have Bassey and Patterson back in. Kelly's going to. So when do we start getting the continuity? Again, we spoke about it the other day as well. Celtic have spent a bit of money on a player. He's come in at the weekend and scored a hat-trick. We've not spent a penny. We won the league last year and we've not spent a penny. So there's questions all over the club now. And as you say, see all Malmo were? They were a team who were set up with a game plan, who stayed disciplined and worked hard for each other. The same as Dundee United at the weekend. And that's 3 games in a week where, although we are the superior team, we're not even landing a glove on these teams, really.
No.
Do you know, it's not as if they're goalies man of the match and they're having worldies and do you know what I mean?
No, look, I don't think anybody can sit here tonight, of anybody that's watching this, and argue that point. I'm not one for being hugely critical, just because I've watched football for so long and I've seen so many ups and downs over the years, and these things happen. So to me, I would just move on for the defeat and move on to Friday night. But I know for a lot of people, it's not as simple as that. There's going to be a huge inquest. Social media is going to be carnage, and there's going to be a lot of criticism coming towards a lot of players. It's going to up the ante on, like, sort of Kamara's contract talks. It'll up the ante on Golson's contract talks. And that's what happens. Because when you don't get these things done before these games start, the questions will just build and build and build. And I'll come to you, JD. Do you think that makes the decisions now tougher for the players because they're now looking at maybe playing in the Europa League, which is maybe potentially where they don't really want to be?
I think for the players that we're mentioning, let's be honest, none of them are going to move and get Champions League, really, are they? Because they want to go down south. So the Europa League or the Champions League down south, it doesn't really matter, because if you move to a bottom half club, it's a life-changing move. So I don't think that really matters unless they're ambitious and they want to get another run in Europe. Because if we sort it out in the next couple of games, then the Europa League's still something we were happy to play in last year. So I get that, but it still doesn't take away the last season was the build up to get back into the Champions League, getting Rangers back into the Champions League, and we've failed at the first hurdle. And like you've said, well, we've seen this through the years. Better Rangers teams than this have failed at the first hurdle. But there's better players, Laudrup's, Gaz's. Doesn't make it any easier, and it doesn't mean that you call it a Rangers star, right? But it doesn't mean that you can. I don't think they're not avoid the criticism because of what they done last year. They can go away and we'll remember that title forever. But we're in the now, so they've let us down big time. And the fans have the place bouncing at the start of the game as well.
No, and I think that's spot on, mate. Look, in the world of Scottish football, when you're a Rangers fan and you're a Celtic fan, you're only one away result for getting a bit of abuse. And that's how it is. And at the end of the day, the players will know that now, and the manager will hear that tomorrow, and he'll hear it for the next few days, because I think, to be honest with you, like, the next big thing for us is probably looking ahead to the European time. That's no disrespect to Dunfermline, but like another defeat in Europe and you drop into the Conference League, I mean, I'm not being disrespectful to the Conference League, but I don't really think that's where Rangers would want to be playing if you were to get knocked out against a Kazakhstani or an Armenian team. And that's the thing, like, you've got to stop the rot quickly. So you've got to go out and you've got to beat Dunfermline, and then you've got to get a good result in the Europa League, and then we've got to go to Dingwall, which is obviously like a long trip, and then you could potentially have like an away trip to one of those countries, and then you get Celtic on the Sunday. So, I mean, like, it's not like the games are stopping. They're coming thick and fast. They're going to hit us quickly, and that's just something that we need to get on with. So, like, the players need to get back to the training ground. They need to accept the criticism, because it's going to come for pretty much every angle possible. Celtic's seen that against Midtjylland. It's just the nature of the beast up here. And the players just need to get back on track quickly. Ross, what's the big thing for you that we need to do to get back on track?
I don't know. There's so much. There's so much missing now. See, last season we played consistent back four. That was your back four, and when they were all fit, they all played. This year it seems to be mucking about. I'll tell you one thing. It's reignited the argument in my house with me and my dad whether Goldson's a diddy or whether he's a world beater. Do you know what I mean? Because this season looks nervous. Every time he's got the ball, looks nervous. The crossfield, all last season, obviously him setting up goals with the crossfield pack. That's no there. Tav's no there. Bonner's no showed up yet. Yep. The one, as JD said earlier on, the one guy who's been a standout at the back is Drapt tonight because he's supposedly slow. But see, Helander in there. Helander, for me, his reading of the game, he probably doesn't concede the 2 goals that Balogun, because he's naturally left-footed on the left side. So for me, I think we've got to get our best players in. And I'll tell you one thing, Gerrard has got one set of balls on him if he plays a weakened team against Dunfermline, because if that comes back and bites him in the arse, and you lose 4 games, then he's going to get battered for all angles.
No, mate, and again, let's not repeat myself. You can't argue with that, to be honest. And that's the thing now. I think you've basically just got to put the best 11 out in the pitch for the next 2 or 3 games. And whether that gets them back into their mindset of playing 90 minutes with each other regularly. Because we've not really had that so far this season. I mean, we've had, like, obviously, you've had McGregor dropping out of the league games. John McLaughlin's been dropping in. We've obviously tweaked the systems and stuff like that at times. We've kind of tweaked where the players have been. But it feels like maybe we've made a mistake on that, because some players just look as though they're a little bit off it. And tonight, again, it just feels like we were maybe 1 or 2 games shy of where we should have been. 1 or 2 guys towards the end of that game were struggling, and that shouldn't be the case. But, I mean, like, I don't think there's 2 point in going over and over and over and over these things. So we'll obviously have a more in-depth chat on Thursday when we look at the game again and have the longer live chat on YouTube and everywhere else. So thanks for joining us tonight, Guy. Really appreciate that. Thanks for coming on, Ross, JD. We'll see you all again very soon. Cheers.